Okay, we're live. We're live on Resident Evil 8, the PS5 version. We're going to be fighting a woman to rescue an infant. That's the last boss. Not my kind of Resident Evil, but let's go. Fighting women, rescuing babies. Last bosses. New Resident Evil, come on.
My beautiful daughter. Come to me.
Yeah, I'm talking about
Nowadays, Resident Evil is all about rescuing babies. We went from fighting zombies to rescuing little babies.
How I've missed you.
I think the next one might be like a combo then of all things together.
I don't really like kids or infants, you know what I mean? I don't give a shit about the fucking baby, you know what I'm saying? I really didn't give a fuck. Like, I'm like, the fucking kid she could eat that fucking kid. Kill the baby. I don't give a fuck. I would, even if it was my own baby, I would let the monsters have the fucking baby and go have another kid. You know what I mean? Like, all this for a fucking infant?
Your body certainly isn't normal.
All this for a fucking infant.
Once I heard everything.
Here we go. We're fighting the woman to rescue the baby. No zombies, no nothing. I don't think I fought a zombie this whole game.
My desires will be fulfilled.
I think the third person should have been free. How dare they try to charge me $20 for a different view?
You fulfilled your purpose.
Well, I mean, it should have been, if they're giving out Resident Evil 7 for free to anybody with a 5, then why couldn't they give out the DLC for free? I would take it for free. That should have been a free update, not a paid thing. I think what they should have did was give this game out for free on Halloween. Well, back then it was worth it. Now it's only worth like $10. I'm a Resident Evil lover too. I went to the movie theaters to see all the movies. I own them all on Blu-ray. I got Resident Evil figures on my shelf. I own all the games. I still got a big bone to pick with Resident Evil 7 and 8. Because as a long-time Resident Evil fan, a lifelong Resident Evil fan since boyhood, I could easily tell there's something wrong with 7 and 8. And anybody who is a lifelong Resident Evil fan knows what I'm talking about. I would have said, I'm not saying anything to you, right? Like, I'm not, like, being mean to you. But if some stranger told me what you had said to me, I would have said, you must be a fucking pussy, a weakling, and a bitch to like games where you rescue babies from women.
Come on.
I said, what kind of pussy-ass bitch likes a game that rescues babies from women?
Wow.
But the graphics are nice, though. The graphics are straight fire. They're not the best I've seen on the 5, but they are nice. It looks like a PS4 game masquerading as a 5 game. Because, what the fuck was it? God of War? Ragnarok? Got crazy graphics. Yeah, the PS5 version, 4K in performance mode, is crazy looking. But, unless you got a 4K TV, Resident Evil 8 on the 5 would just look like a 4 game with a 15. It looks like a PS4 game with a 15% graphic increase instead of a 60% graphic increase because I don't have the 4K. But whatever though, fighting a woman, save the child. Modern day Resident Evil.
My beautiful daughter. Come to me.
Remember, fight the woman, save the child.
Is that you? Oh, how I've missed you.
What, are they going to remake all of them? They're going to go back and remake 8 again?
What?
No, shoot him, no, shoot him.
My power is leaving me.
Rose! Miranda!
I could do without the remakes. I was happy with the originals. They should have just made new games. Don't make us play the same shit over again with better graphics.
Give Rose to me. Now!
You will see. Once
I want to play new Resident Evils, not the ones I already played, but new again. You know, I'm going to get Resident Evil 4 remake anyway. I wish they never even made a Resident Evil 4 remake. They should have just made a Resident Evil 9 and made it right.
And you tried to take it away from me. I will take
All I know is they fucked up. Stop trying to justify it. Don't stop trying to forgive them for their mistakes. There's no forgiveness. They screwed up. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to yourself. You played through the whole game and at the end you felt like something was wrong, but you convinced yourself that... Oh, hold on, I'm joking around. Please don't unfriend me when I say this. If I was whatever the hell you are, I would have loved it too. But I'm fucking a hardcore New Yorker. We don't fucking do that kind of shit. We don't fight women to rescue babies. In New York, we don't fight women to rescue babies. I mean, if I was into all kinds of like girly shit or whatever, I would have fucking loved rescuing women from a... I would have loved taking babies from women too at the end of the game. Like if I wore pink all the time and had long hair and a pair of glasses and like I would tuck my arm up against my chest or whatever, you know what I mean? And I would look at pictures of guys with no shirt on or whatever. I probably would have loved this game.
Your time is up. Now die.
What other reason it look like?
But it's like the boss I'm fighting, Mother Miranda, it feels like she don't belong in this game. Like she only pops up for 2 seconds at the end of the game when you fight her, and it just don't feel right. It feels like they just added her in at the end of the game. It's like confusing and a little bit jarring. It's like, why am I fighting a fucking devil angel to rescue a baby in a Resident Evil game? Doesn't feel right to me. Something feels off. Like it looks nice and I'm enjoying myself right now playing it. The graphics are nice. I'm shooting at some... It looks like the fucking boss before the last on Doom Eternal. Remember that angel lady that flies around on Doom Eternal? That's what I'm fighting that. I'm fighting that lady from Doom Eternal right now. It's the same angel woman from fucking Doom Eternal, but she got a different skin.
After all, everyone dies. Great Mega Mice, hear my prayer.
But when you get old, when you get, maybe you're still young, I don't know how old you are. When you get older and you've been through a lot of shit or whatever, maybe fucking your taste will be more refined. Yeah, so 18, 28. So in 25 years, you'll have more refined taste and you'll begin agreeing with some of the... Well, I mean, you're probably not going to know me in 25 years. But if you could look back to this moment 25 years from now, with your refined tastes that you'll get in the future, you will definitely agree with me. You may not agree with me now, but once your tastes get refined with age, I'm sure you will. Like just how like when a 5-year-old won't eat lettuce on a sandwich, or like a 25-year-old will say, I want lettuce on mine. Same thing. Whatever. Bottom line is, if you're playing a Resident Evil game and you find yourself fighting a woman to rescue a baby, then that's not Resident Evil you're playing. It's something else. So I'm playing something else right now. It's like they put a different game at the end of the game. The one where you fight women to rescue kids in a Resident Evil. Kind of like how in the latest Thor movie, they had a lady and a bunch of kindergartners, a bunch of 5-year-olds and a lady beat up the God Killer. The guy who killed thousands of gods across the universe was defeated by a pack of 5-year-olds and some lady? That didn't feel right either. You know, this whole movie, I saw Thor Love and Thunder. The whole fucking movie, they're talking about how powerful this guy is. He's going around killing actual gods. Hey, give 10 5-year-olds superpowers and he's dead. You know, he stood up to 1,000 gods across the universe, but 10 5-year-olds from Earth took him down. That's another reason I couldn't get into Stranger Things. You seen the final episode of Stranger Things? It's a bunch of little kids defeated a monster. It's if I was a monster, there's no little group of little kids that could beat me. A real monster doesn't get defeated by a group of little kids. There's no real monster that ever gets defeated by a group of kids. The monster is the one that kills the kids.
Little, my beautiful daughter, come to me.
So if anybody ever asks me what Resident Evil is about, instead of telling them the answer that they think they're going to get, like if somebody asks you what Resident Evil is about, here's what they think you're going to answer with. It's about zombies in the city. But if anybody ever asks me what Resident Evil is about, I'm going to say it's about fighting women to rescue babies. Let's see what they say. I didn't tell them to prove me wrong. Because you can't prove me wrong. We're here fighting women, rescuing babies. Resident Evil.
Miranda!
Interesting. Your body certainly isn't normal.
Give Rose to me. Now!
Well, I spoke to actual Die-Hard fans. What they said was the same thing I said, but not in as many swear words. Yeah, of course they know why zombies are not in the game. We know the story. Yeah, it's like they just screwed up the writers.
My desires will be
Yeah, the zombies are the BOWs. Hey, James. It's James Gipp. The last good Resident Evil was Resident Evil 6 because Resident Evil 7 and 8, they weren't Resident Evils. They were something else with the Resident Evil name. It was like they could have called it something else. Like Resident Evil 7, they could have took the Resident Evil name away and just called it Barnyard Massacre or something like that, or Farmhouse Horror. And then like Resident Evil 8, they could have just took that name away and just called it Scary Village or some shit like that. I don't know how Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 8 somehow stole the title of Resident Evil. Like there's these two games that exist that aren't Resident Evil but yet have a Resident Evil name. So it's more digestible for me to think that like they just fucked up on the name. Like maybe they meant to call this game Spooky Village instead of calling it Resident Evil 8, and that's a more digestible way for me to think about it. That they just misnamed the game. Because if this game was called something else, I wouldn't be so pissed at it. Since they called this Resident Evil, it got me tight. This ain't no Resident Evil. It's some kind of fucking first-person shooter where I fight a lady to rescue a baby. What's it called?
There's nothing.
As soon as I played Resident Evil 4, I fought a whole village of zombies as soon as the game began. So you must have never played Part 4. No, you're completely wrong. At the beginning of Resident Evil 4, you fight dozens of zombies, a whole entire village of them. Whatever they are, they look like zombies to me, and they'll pass for zombies to anybody else. Like if you show somebody who never plays video games but watches zombie movies, and you pause the game at the beginning of the game when all those villagers are there, and you say, "What do you see?" They're gonna say, "That's a zombie." So Resident Evil 4 got a shit ton of zombies. Whatever you want to call them, those are zombies. You can call them whatever you want, or call them whatever the game calls them. Anybody who knows that those fucking things were zombies. I played the game. It don't matter what they call them. You can call it whatever you want. You can make up any kind of. You can call a zombie Jack. Call them anything you fucking want. You can make up any name for them. Call them villagers. Call them plaguists. Call them whatever you want. Those are zombies. I guess you could say there's zombies in Part 8 too, because there is those dudes with the little sickles. They got those little curved knives and they pop out of the grave. So I guess you could say there's zombies in Part 8 as well, but they don't appear as often as I would like. Well, hopefully by the time Part 9 comes out, the developers will issue an apology. Part 9 is coming out in the year 2024. It's going to have Part 9 in the title. Well, Halloween 2024 will be Resident Evil 9. It's going to be PS5 only. I've been dealing with Capcom since NES in the year 1986. So I kind of feel like I know how they act and like what they usually do. 2024, Resident Evil 9, October. Be there or be square.
I can take any form
I know. But the thing is, I hate to say this, and it's going to make me sound like an idiot, and you're probably not going to like it, but I'm mildly clairvoyant. I'm just a little bit clairvoyant. So in 2024 Halloween, we'll have Resident Evil 9. That's what my clairvoyancy is telling me. You know, it's like where you can close your eyes, take a deep breath, and just picture things that are going to happen. Resident Evil 9. October 2024. And they'll have Resident Evil 10 in 2026. It'll be one of the first games on the 6th. One of the launch titles for the 6th is Resident Evil 10, but we didn't make it that far yet. I can't wait to know you 9 years from now. The day I get the PS6 when it comes out, I'll have a digital version of fucking Resident Evil 10. Nine years from now, I'm going to come find you. And I'm going to tell you, I just bought the Resident Evil 6. I just bought the fucking PlayStation 6 that came with Resident Evil 10. Resident Evil 10 will be a launch title for the 6.
The hell I will.
Well, maybe they need better fans. I mean, like, I know you're my friend and you're cool and all, but if you're the type of fans they got, maybe they need better fans.
If I combine Rose with a megamycete, my daughter will be made manifest at last.
Maybe they need better fans. Because it seems like I'm the type of fan where you can't just shove anything down my throat and expect me to like it. They're hoping that anything that they fucking come out off the cutting room floor with, everybody's gonna enjoy.
Your time is up. Now die.
I just don't want them to call it Resident Evil. I played through this whole game. It didn't feel like no Resident. So I played through 6 Resident Evils that felt like Resident Evils. 6 of them. 6 entire games. Imagine playing through 6 entire games, start to finish. And then you played through part 7 and 8 and it didn't feel like the other 6. It feels off. Like if they named it something else, not Resident Evil, this game would have fit. Like it seems like all the pieces of the puzzle don't fit into place. Like it should have been called something else. Like yeah, they should have called the game Redwood. If they called this game Redwood, I would have liked it because I would have, you know, if you call it Resident Evil, I'm going into it with preconceived notions. If they didn't call it Resident Evil, I wouldn't have went into it with preconceived notions of what a Resident Evil was. I wouldn't have been disappointed. They could have stopped anybody from being disappointed by just not calling it Resident Evil. Could have been called anything.
Here I come.
So any Resident Evil game where you gotta fight a girl at the end, and I'm even saying Code Veronica. If you gotta fight a lady as a last boss to rescue a baby, then that's a failed Resident Evil. It seemed like this whole game was okay until the final boss. I don't care who lives and who dies, to be honest. As long as I fight zombies in Resident Evil. As long as I'm not fighting a woman to rescue a baby, I'm happy.
Why do you persist in this?
So don't give me a Resident Evil game where I'm fighting a woman to rescue a baby. How is that Resident Evil? Since when do we fight women to rescue babies? It's the zombie game. It's the world famous zombie game. You know the world famous zombie game that everybody all over the world knows? You know they made movies about it with zombies in them? It's a world famous franchise. Like you could walk up to a bus stop anywhere on Earth and ask them what Resident Evil is and they're going to say zombie. You know, you go to anywhere on Earth and ask them what Resident Evil is and they say the word zombie. Resident Evil is synonymous with zombie. Like if somebody holds up a card and the card says Resident Evil and they say what's the next card I'm going to hold up, is it a picture of a bird or a picture of a zombie? You're going to say zombie because they held up the card of Resident Evil.
Oh, how I've missed you.
What? The last boss. That's why you're fighting something other than a zombie as the last boss.
My power is leaving me.
Rose!
All I know is that they're supposed to make you fight a big monster at the end. Then an explosion is supposed to happen afterward.
Interesting.
They can't have you fighting zombies all the time. They're going to have you fight an occasional monster. That's Resident Evil as well.
You will see. Once I kill you properly, everything.
Yeah, I know. You fight monsters in Resident Evil from time to time. It mixes up the monotony from fighting just zombies.
I've spent a lifetime creating this moment, and you tried to take it away from me. I will take what is due.
Resident Evil 7 and 8 are Resident Evil in name only.
Rose is mine! What the fuck?
Whatever I'm fighting, that ain't no BOW. It's a witch. It's some kind of fucking witch who's casting magical spells on a baby. There's no, a bioorganic weapon is like a tyrant. Some shit that hops out of a vat in a laboratory. I'm fighting what looks like the Blair Witch. I'm fighting the fucking Blair Witch right now. This don't look like no bioweapon, no none of that. That's why when I was playing as Chris, I got confused that he called the fucking werewolves bioweapons. They're fucking werewolves, not bioweapons.
Disposed of my false children and awakened the glorious innocent. Now, please do not worry for little Rose. I assure you I'll provide her with treats. So now we can
But Resident Evil 6 was the last real Resident Evil, and they had too many monsters in that. Too many monsters, not enough zombies. The Javo, I like them fucking Javos I didn't really like. You know, the Javos or whatever? I felt like fucking I'm there trying to take it a little too far with those Javos. You know, Resident Evil 6 got a little too much monsters. Not in, you know what I mean? That's like, they first started to go down, like Resident Evil 6 is good, but that's when they first started to go down the wrong path. You can see them take their first step down the fucking wrong track with Resident Evil 6. That was the first time they put their fucking foot down the path of going the wrong way. Got zombies in it. You're fighting against a village of zombies. So nowadays, it seems like they'll just make any game and just put Resident Evil on it. So don't make a game that's like the Avengers. Have Chris be Captain America, have Jill be Thor, because Thor's a girl now. We'll have fucking Ethan Winters be the Hulk, and we'll call that Resident Evil.
That's right.
You know, because they'll just slap the Resident Evil title on anything. It don't even got to have zombies in it no more. You know what I mean? It could be a racing game like Need for Speed. Boom, Resident Evil. They'll just put the Resident Evil name on anything. It don't even have to have zombies in it. Yeah, Capcom is known for making horrible business decisions. They almost went out of business a couple times.
such vitality.
If you ever gave a die-hard fan the ability to create a Resident Evil game, there would never be a woman in it that you have to fight to rescue a baby. So if you lined up, bear with me here, if you lined up 1,000 hardcore Resident Evil fans against a wall, lined up 1,000 of them, and gave each one of them an unlimited budget to create their own Resident Evil game, all 1,000 of those die-hard fans with an unlimited budget, there would never be a woman at the end of the game that you have to kill to rescue a baby. 1,000 games would have came out, and none of them would have had a fucking woman at the end you killed to rescue a baby. And that's if you gave 1,000 Resident Evil fans an unlimited budget to make a Resident Evil game. Yeah, they did get away with it. I wonder who signed off on that. Probably some drunk Japanese person. Who signed off on that? I don't know. Bottom line is, if you give a Resident Evil fan the ability to make a Resident Evil game, the end doesn't turn out like this. Or Lady Dimitrescu, whatever her name is, she was the laughingstock of the game. Like back when Resident Evil 8 first came out, like the real Resident Evil fans were like fucking making memes and making little videos and laughing. They're making fun of her because she don't even belong in the game. Yeah, I know. Bunch of people that ain't. Bunch of people like you, they fucking convince themselves that they love anything they spent their money on. Don't trust Capcom. They make a lot of bad choices. Look it up. So how come if you give, how come though? But how come? But I'm still confused about this. How come if you give a, how come if you give 1,000 Resident Evil fans the ability to make their own Resident Evil game, 1,000 games come out that don't have a woman that you kill to rescue a baby at the end? Why is that? Why is that?
I think it's time for
Yeah, I know. A story that a real Resident Evil fan would have never made.
you were truly a wonder.
So bottom line is, you're a Resident Evil fan. If I gave you the ability to make your own Resident Evil game, cost is not an issue. At the end of your game, you would have had all the people fighting a woman to rescue a baby? I would have never made it. Like, if you gave me an unlimited budget and said, make the next Resident Evil, there's no fucking way that you're fighting a lady to rescue a baby in that game. Like, an easy way to start a Resident Evil game. Here's an easy way to start a Resident Evil game. Show an airplane fly over a city and show gas or mist fall out of the bottom of the plane. Then show a bunch of people at a building or a bunch of people at a gas station, and people start transforming. And you take control of the person that didn't transform. You get what I mean? So here's the beginning of the game. Here's the beginning. An airplane flies over a city. Mist falls out of the bottom of the airplane. It shows a few people at a gas station pumping gas. They all start to transform. One person doesn't transform. He hops in a car. He opens a glove box. There's a pistol inside of it. Suddenly the car won't start. Now you're fighting zombies at a gas station in a city. The beginning of the real Resident Evil. Well, that's how Resident Evils are. They're like B zombie movies. Like a Resident Evil is like it's like a B zombie movie. You ever seen a B scary movie? Like a shitty scary movie? Resident Evil is based off shitty scary movies, not even good ones. They're based off shitty zombie films.
Come to me.
Just give me zombies in my Resident Evil. Please stop making me fight women to rescue babies in my Resident Evil. Millions of people agree with me.
I've missed you.
Stop making us fight women to rescue babies, Capcom. Please, what have you done? Please, Capcom, I'm recording this too. Please, Capcom, what have you done? Please stop making us fight women to rescue babies, Capcom. Please.
Miranda!
Oh yeah, definitely. Resident Evil 7 was unplayable. At least you could play Resident Evil 8.
Give Rose to me!
Resident Evil 7 was so bad, they had to ram it down everybody's throat that bought a 5. So if they did it right, it would have made even more then. So I mean, like, so you're saying that even doing a bad job with a shitty story, they still made 90 mil. So that means if they did shit the way I had described, they would have made over 150 mil. They might have made $1 billion if they did it right. So you remember when we were playing as Chris on Resident Evil 8? All they had to do was make the whole game like that, start to finish. They would have had the biggest hit of the century.
You tried to take it away from me. I
You ever watch anybody die in real life? I think that as soon as you see somebody die right in front of you in real life, your whole outlook will change. So I'll be waiting for that day. You could tell me about it when it happens. Could be in the hospital with your family. It could be a stranger at a bus stop. I don't fight women to rescue babies in a Resident Evil, plain and simple. I'm only doing it right now to get it over with so I can put this game on a shelf. I didn't play this game for the story. I didn't care about the story. I just wanted to kill monsters and zombies with a gun. I got like almost every game on the PlayStation where you kill monsters and zombies with a gun. This was the next one I didn't play. I didn't like the story. I didn't like the characters. The last boss was lame, but you get to kill monsters and zombies with a gun, so I'm in. I got to see what all the hype was about. I'm not impressed. Only part that impressed me was that one part where you play as Chris. Yeah, but the people that disagree with me are people like you, people whose opinion barely count. All right, well, good. I forgive him. It is a great game. I just don't think that the last boss fits the Resident Evil motif. You know, like where we fight zombies. You know, like in the zombie franchise. You know, like the world famous zombie franchise. You know, Resident Evil, where everybody fights the zombies. Chris Redfield, the zombies. You know, Resident Evil. We're fighting a witch. We're fighting the Blair Witch for a kid. I wanted it to die at the beginning of the game. I thought the fucking baby died at the beginning of the game. Hi from New York. It's Artida. Artida, how are you? I seen your last video, Artida. I watched your videos, Artida. Thank you for stopping by. I want to talk to the viewer for a second. Hold on. So, Artida, if you can still hear me and you're still viewing, I love Resident Evil. I'm a big-time Resident Evil fan. I've been there since day one when it came out on the PlayStation 1. Probably like yourself. But how come on the newest Resident Evil game, with the best graphics for the newest console, why am I fighting a woman to rescue a baby as the last boss? It just doesn't feel right. We don't rescue babies and we don't fight women in Resident Evil. You know what I mean? I didn't really know I was going to be fighting a woman to rescue a baby. I thought I was going to be fighting like a horde of zombies. Maybe hanging from a helicopter shooting at a monster. You know?
After all, everyone dies.
It's the lamest. I've never seen the last boss of Part 7. But out of every Resident Evil I played, this is the lamest last boss. You played Resident Evil 3, the remake? The last boss on Resident Evil 3, the remake, is way better than this one. You know, I wasn't as scared as everybody else. In fact, I barely even seen it. I barely even seen it. As soon as it came into view, I turned around and ran and went up an elevator. It never appeared again the whole game. I saw the monster coming at me. They wouldn't give me no weapons to fight it with. I turned around and ran the other way. Yeah, as soon as I walked down the hallway, the baby appeared. It wouldn't let me fight it. I turned directly around, ran straight, hopped in the elevator, went up the elevator, never saw the baby again the whole game, and I even got it on film.
I can take any form I desire.
No, even when I fought the baby, I thought it was cool. But then after I got on the elevator and the game was loading on the elevator going up, I said, what the fuck was a baby doing in a Resident Evil game like that? I said, I would have rather have fought 5 zombies in the hallway. So don't tell me that I'm wrong for wanting zombies in my Resident Evil game. Don't tell me that I'm wrong for not wanting to kill a woman to take a kid out of her arms. In any situation, real life, a video game, in a movie, anything, it's always wrong to shoot a woman and take the kid out of her arms. I don't care if she's the bad guy. I don't care if it's a video game. It'll never feel right to me in any situation to shoot a lady with a shotgun point blank in the face and snatch a baby out of her arms. That'll never feel right to me. That'll never feel right to me. If you think that shooting a woman in the face with a shotgun and snatching a baby out of her arms feels right to you, then you need to see a doctor. You need to see a doctor. The daughter don't need saving. The daughter, like, as soon as that baby was took at the beginning of the game, like, a real person in real life would have let that go. Yeah, because if the kid is that young, it didn't even have a life. You just go have another kid. A lot of people lost infants. People lose infants every day. People lose infants every day. And even if I did, I wouldn't shoot the woman and take the baby out of her arms. No, if I was in a house and a bunch of bullets came through the window and shot my wife, no, I'm going to put myself in Ethan Winter's shoes. If I'm standing in my house, put yourself in this situation. You're standing in your house with your wife. Your wife is holding a kid. A bunch of bullets come through the window and kill your wife. A bunch of army people come and take the baby. You're never going to see that fucking kid again. There's no way you're going after the army. Your best bet will be to go have another kid. Most people that lose a baby, like as an infant, they usually have another kid within the next year. Start questioning people that lost infants, because they usually have another kid within the next year. They don't keep carrying on over the lost kid. They usually try to keep the first kid a secret from the second kid. Well, for example, a couple has a baby. The baby dies. They carry on for about 4 months. A year later, they have another kid. Guess what? They never tell the new kid about the old kid. That's how they do it where I'm at. Anybody who has an infant that dies, they usually have another kid within a year and never tell the kid about the other kid, the one that died. They learn about it when they're an adult. You get what I mean? Well, you're also in another country. In America, when a couple has an infant that dies, they mourn it for a very, very short time. And then within 12 months, they're already having another kid, and they never tell that kid about the other kid. They learn about it when it becomes an adult. So if you were an American child, there's a good chance that your parents had a kid before you that died when it was an infant, and they never told you. No, most of them never tell the kid. They don't tell you, like, when you're like 9 years old, they don't tell you, you had a sister who fucking died 2 years before you were born. They don't tell the kids that. They keep that a secret. Yeah, I know. That's why I don't care. I got it for free. I feel like I got one of the most popular PS5 games for free. I'm able to speak, like I'm able to give an unbiased opinion because I got this game for free to try. With money I didn't do anything to earn. So I can speak my mind freely about it. I didn't spend my hard-earned money on it and have to come up with fake reasons why I like it. I got this shit for free because I'm a gangster. And now I could talk shit about it. I got it for free because I'm a piece of shit. So now I could talk shit. Sorry if I made you guys mad.
A century, all for this day.
I just feel bad killing a fucking woman to rescue a baby in my zombie game. You know what I mean? Imagine they came out with a new Call of Duty Zombies where all you had to do was shoot ladies holding babies. Yeah, they would. Yeah, they would. As soon as Capcom buys them, don't let Capcom get a hold of them. You'll be shooting all fucking women holding babies.
This
Please don't make me shoot women holding babies in my zombie game. Why am I fighting a fucking Blair Witch in a zombie game? Resident Evil. Why is it called Resident Evil? That means zombie. That's like certain words trigger certain things. Like when you say Resident Evil, I say zombie. Like when you say ice, I say cream. You get what I mean? It's a real thing.
here I come.
Yeah, it's technically based off creating, you know, it's like this. Listen, there's people trying to get superpowers that make themselves better. You know, that's technically what it's about. You know, only they keep failing and shit, and some people also get you know, all psycho about it, like you know, you name it, like Leatherface, and then start liking it, and then get this bullshit. Yeah, you know, the evil people in high places. They want that type of shit. Instead of bombing the shit, they better do something like that, you know, doing it that way. It's actually very dangerous.
Well, it seemed like the story started to get a little far out on Resident Evil 6, but I was still willing to accept it. But I stopped accepting it when 7 came out.
If you want to connect it to the real life.
Or even if it is a bioweapon should never be a lady holding a kid. That's bad design, bad writing. There should never be a fucking... If I'm running in any game where you run around with a gun and dismember and kill monsters in a gory way, you should never have to shoot a woman to take a kid. Even if she wasn't a monster, even if she was a normal human holding a regular baby. Just the simple fact that I'm pointing a gun at a lady holding a kid don't sit right with me. And that's not even a bioweapon to me. She's not a weapon. Nobody created her. They didn't use her for a weapon in the army. She looks like a witch. So you're telling me that the government went in there, gave her powers, and we're going to unleash her as a weapon somewhere? Because that ain't what the story said. She's not no bioweapon. Nobody's using her as a weapon. There's no nation. There's no government. Nobody's using her as a weapon. And like nobody would use this mold shit as a weapon. The first thing they would do is nuke that shit.
My beautiful daughter. Come to me. Is that you?
Or the whole idea of the mold is stupid as hell. I liked it better when it was just a sickness that people got that brought the dead body back to life. Yeah, no, whatever. Like the whole, like the mold. I don't like the mold. They should have got rid of that. They should have never, because that started with part 7. That shit is no good. That mold is retarded. It's not good. They should have got rid of it. The only thing that was acceptable to me is if it's like a sickness or a virus that if you get affected with it, you know, like a zombie, Resident Evil.
Your body served me. You fulfilled your purpose, Mr. Winters. You disposed of my false children and awakened.
So there's 8 Resident Evils out. I want to issue you a challenge. Take 8 nights and beat all 8 Resident Evils. After you're done, tell me which 2 were different.
The glorious.
7 and 8.
Now please do not worry for little Rose.
Of course.
I
So let me start from the beginning then. In part 1, you're running through a mansion fighting zombies. A monster comes out at the end. In part 2, you're running through a city fighting zombies. A monster comes out at the end. In part 3, you're running through a city fighting zombies. A monster comes out at the end. Part 4, now we're on part 4. Part 4, you're running through a village fighting zombies. A monster pops out at the end. It goes all the way on like that until part 6. Guess where it changes at? You know the answer. They look like zombies to me. Any zombie fan, that's a zombie. I understand that. You can call them whatever you want. You can call them what the game calls them. You can make up any name you want and call them that. I call them zombies. That's what they resembled and acted like, right? They staggered around like an undead zombie. You know, if you look at the zombie from the beginning of part 1, then you look at the first villager you bump into on part 4. Do you guys remember Resident Evil 1, the first zombie you bump into? Do you guys remember the very first zombie of any Resident Evil at the beginning of part 1? Compare that first zombie from Resident Evil 1 to the very first zombie you encounter in part 4. So if you look at let me repeat myself. If you look at the zombie from Resident Evil 1, the first one you encounter, and then you look at the very first enemy you encounter in Resident Evil 4, there's a lot of similarities. So the first zombie in Resident Evil 1, he's trying to kill somebody. He's shuffling around. Well, guess what happens to the first enemy you see in Resident Evil 4? He's trying to kill somebody. He's shuffling around. It's a zombie. I don't care what the game calls it or what you call it. That's a zombie. You fight Resident Evil 4 got zombies. Even part 4 got zombies. Okay. You can call them BOWs. I'm going to call them what they're really called, zombies. Okay, good. BOWs. They probably wanted to call them BOWs because maybe they can get sued for calling them zombies. Everybody knows that Resident Evil is a zombie game. You fought zombies for 6 games straight until Resident Evil 7. If you try to say otherwise, you're automatically wrong. I can go back and show this video to 100 people and see, do you hear this guy? He's saying Resident Evil don't got zombies in it. So you of all people should know that Resident Evil has zombies in it. And how dare you say that Resident Evil doesn't have zombies in it? That's their technical term. Not everybody ain't no brainiac know-it-all with fucking glasses who've been to school for 20 years. If you look at a fucking person that looks half dead, half alive, that's trying to bite your neck and fucking shuffle across the ground at you, that's a zombie. A zombie is reanimated dead flesh. Guess what you're fighting in Resident Evil? They're fucking zombies, man. Don't try to say that Resident Evil don't got zombies. Yeah, I know they're called bioweapons. Everybody knows that. They're zombies. I never met somebody who was in such denial. So you can lie to yourself and convince yourself that it's true and actually believe it. I met a few people like that. Even when shown irrefutable evidence, they still fucking think the contrary. That's how war starts. So if we had two nations, I would have gathered all my strongest warriors and went over there and took everything from your country. Because you fucking don't understand. I would have said, this guy called them zombies. Let's go get them. We would have all laughed and said, they got any gold over there? They got any oil? They got any resources? They're probably in denial about that too. I would have had my country conquer yours, you know? I would have said, fuck. Capcom sucks. They make a bunch of shitty choices. Yeah, I didn't pay no money for it. The money I paid for it, I didn't earn. So I don't give a shit. I'm playing it for free. Because they made one back when I was a kid that was good, and I was hoping that they had all these years to make it better. I just wanted to see what all the hype was about and experience myself. The only part of this game that was any good was the part where you played as Chris for 2 minutes. But also though, I mean, you kick me out of the party or unfriend me, do whatever you want. But I ain't no weakling, I ain't no coward, and I ain't no fucking little fag. But if I was, I probably would have agreed with you. I would have said, I love fighting women. I love beating up women for little kids. There ain't no zombies in this game. I'm afraid of a zombie, so I call them something else. They're BOWs, not zombies. I was taught to be afraid of zombies, but I ain't afraid of a BOW. I'm not afraid of a BOW. You know what I mean? Like, come on. They're fucking zombies with a funny name. It's like every game they give the zombies a different funny name. If they just called them zombies and just kept calling them zombies, shit would have been way more understandable. Yeah, maybe, probably. I don't fucking know. It seems like all the games that you like, you shoot women in. Dead by Daylight, you put the women on the hook. Fucking every game that you play is violence against women nonstop. I hate Markiplier. As soon as I found out who he was, I blocked his channel on my feed. I don't know. You kept trying. You're the guy who told me that Resident Evil ain't a zombie game. So that's how I know your opinion don't have no weight. You're the guy who said Resident Evil ain't a zombie game. All right, well, let him agree. I don't care if he's wrong. He's allowed to be wrong. All right, well, there you go then. How about this? I'm going to go to my phone right now. Watch this. I'll let it talk out loud. That way you can hear what it says. Remember, this is common knowledge. Get ready. Get ready. Does Resident Evil, the video game, have zombies in it? Resident Evil presents a story about a zombie apocalypse, overrunning the entirety of a fictitious city. Let me repeat that. Resident Evil presents a zombie apocalypse. Takes place in a city and a mansion and various other locations. Here's another question. Is Resident Evil 1 a zombie game? It is the first in the zombie franchise Resident Evil. Okay. It says, does Resident Evil 5 have zombies in it? It says, you will play as Chris or Shiva. It's very violent. It contains strong violence towards zombies. Every single game got zombies in it but 7 and 8. It's all over the internet. All right. We'll go on there right now. That was next on the list. Let me bring it back up. Do you fight zombies in Resident Evil 4? Watch what it says. It says the main enemies are violent villagers referred to as ganados. It says unlike a traditional zombie, which means they're still zombies, just untraditional. No, they're just untraditional versions of the zombie. So they're still zombies. Same thing I said, but in fancier words. I said you can call them whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. They're zombies. You can call them bioweapons. You can call them monsters. You can call them aliens. Whatever the fuck they are, they're zombies. So how are you going to say Resident Evil don't got zombies in it? What picture? There's no picture.
Yeah, I saw a picture. Yeah.
So whatever that is, that's fake info.
I even got a picture like that.
That's fake news. Whatever that is, that's fake news. That's a lie. That article is a lie. Whatever that is, where it says all images 3, that whole paragraph is a lie. Well, that whole paragraph where it shows Leon fighting the bald-headed monster, and it says all images 3, that's a lie. What it says underneath that. Yeah, obviously, that's the one monster you fight in the game. Like I said before, you fight an occasional monster in each of the games. I understand. Listen. You showed me the picture of the occasional monster you fight. Yeah, we know there's an occasional monster. Okay, now what? Yeah, we know there's a fucking occasional monster. Big deal. That started with the Tyrant. The Tyrant was the first occasional monster. You know what I mean? Every game got an occasional monster. It's a zombie game with an occasional monster. Usually the occasional monsters are the bosses. You know, you run through the level fighting zombies, and then a strange monster will be the boss. It's usually a monster that some corporation did experiments on. That's not what we have here, though. So no weird corporation did experiments on this lady. So once the screen goes dark, I can't see shit, and I just die automatically. How do you fight her when the screen goes dark? I can't see shit when the screen goes dark, and it's like fucking something just comes up out of the ground and kills me. Bad game design. They don't give you no night vision, nothing. Don't give you a fucking bomb that fucking lights up the room. It's like I have to turn my TV up on full brightness.
You fulfilled your purpose, Mr. Hughes. You disposed of my false children and awakened the glorious Hephaestus. Now, please do not worry for little Rose. I assure you I'll provide her with you.
I can't hear you. I'm over it. I ain't gonna argue with somebody who's my intellectual inferior. I'm playing the fucking zombie game, the one where they make you fight no zombies. The new one. I'm playing the new zombie game. I'm playing the new game in the zombie franchise, the fucking new one where they don't make you fight no zombies. And you know what I'm talking about. Whatever you want to call them. You can call them whatever you want. That's your name for them. And the name that the company gave them that made the game. What they really are is zombies, and that's what all the regular people call them. You're not a regular person. You're different. No, you're different somehow. You're different somehow. You're the one that calls them
I've
BOWs.
never seen a human without his heart.
There's probably a bunch of people like you, but all the regular people call them zombies. You ask a normal guy walking down the street, you ask a normal guy walking down the street, that's a zombie. You shoot zombies in Resident Evil. Most of the games took place in a city. You know, a city full of zombies? Yeah, I know. In part 1, you fight a mansion full of zombies. Part 2, you fight a city full of zombies. Part 3, you fight a city full of zombies. Part 4, you fight a village full of zombies. Part 5, you fight another village of zombies.
After all, everyone dies.
Yeah, they call them something else due to the story. The story makes them be called something else. But at the end of the day, what you're looking at is a zombie. What's the first enemy you fight in Resident Evil 1? Do you even remember Resident Evil 1? That's what a zombie looks like. That's a zombie.
Oh, great Megamycete!
They're non-traditional zombies, so they're more like monsters. So what a fucking idiot to think that there's no fucking zombies in Resident Evil. Somebody ought to knife him. Maybe he'll come back as a zombie. If he fucking lived on my street, I'd have fucking put a mask on and took his fucking debit card right out of his pocket.
Yeah, that's why they changed. Because if you look at it, Green, in the beginning, you know, yeah, then there was zombies and all. Then you got the Raccoon City, right? Then they blew it up, right? And it all changed. There was no, like, you know, zombies. You might call them zombies, but they're not exactly zombies.
I agree and I understand.
You'll see that shit coming out of their mouth and everything. The regular zombies don't have that.
Yeah, they're not like real zombies, but at the end of it, they're not like real zombies. They're not traditional zombies in the sense that we would think like a zombie from them old zombie movies, you know, where they fucking say brains. They're not that kind of zombie. They're like a variant. You know, it's like a zombie variant. You know, it's like a subspecies of zombie. Yeah, I know, it's called a bioweapon. They were created by a terrorist group. But at the end of the day, to a normal person, your average onlooker, they're zombies. Resident Evil is known worldwide as the zombie game. I know. Well, when you walk up to a group of people and you pull the disc of Resident Evil out of your book bag, guess what they tell you? Oh, you got the zombie game. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. Say like you look up the list of zombie video games. Look up a list of zombie video games. Resident Evil is the world's most popular zombie video game.
My daughter will be made manifest at last! A century.
Yeah, even the very first zombie that you see in Resident Evil 1, that's a bioweapon. It was created by a virus that was created to be a weapon for the government. I know that they're bioweapons. Too bad that they're bioweapons they created are zombies. Do you understand? They're zombies. You can call them whatever you want. That's like saying a dog is a canine. That's like saying a mongrel. That's like saying a fucking mongrel is a mutt, is a canine, is a dog. They're all the same fucking thing. The bioweapons are the zombies.
All for this day.
No, I'm playing Mortal Kombat.
You won't interfere.
If it's dead and it came back to life, that's a zombie. So if it died and then it's walking around again, don't matter what it is. If it's dead and back alive, a zombie. Anything dead that came back is a zombie.
So close to death.
Remember in Resident Evil 5, at the beginning, those two people shoved that thing in that black guy's mouth? Well, he died right after they put that in his mouth. Then he came back as a zombie 2 minutes later with veins all in his face and shit, and a little thing coming out of his mouth.
He's my goddamn daughter.
Yeah, I know. I was there when they made the game for the PS3, Ouroboros. But the thing is, Ouroboros was the new kind of zombie at the time. The next new kind of zombie was Jivo.
You psycho.
But remember, anything that dies and comes back is a zombie. When they shoved that thing down his mouth, he died. He came back as whatever you're calling it, Ouroboros, aka new type of zombie. Whatever it was, that whole village of people that you fight at the beginning of Resident Evil 5, those are all zombies. Well, the reason that you think they're not is because they're a variant subspecies of zombie. There's hundreds of kinds of zombies. Yeah, I know. This is going to sound horrible. One day you'll be dead and I'll still be alive, so either way, I'm right. Only the people that survive write history. So, as long as I outlive you, and somebody with your type of opinions or whatever, somebody like me will probably one day kill somebody like you. So, I'm gonna live longer than you. You know, like you'll be at the store one day, and somebody like me will fucking just wind up pulling a gun out. You know what I mean? I'm still your friend. I'm sorry. I'm just in a bad mood. What I mean is that fucking one day fucking some shit will happen and fucking somebody like me will do some shit to you and I won't have nothing to do with it.
Those four, they could do nothing to assuage my years of loneliness.
Ever think the problem might be you, Miranda? You're not capable of real love.
I will see my hopes fulfilled. I must. Die, 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 die.
Those Plagas things are just a different type of zombie.
I will bring back my daughter.
Plagas or whatever it is, those tentacle monsters, they're just a different type of zombie. What are the zombies called in Resident Evil 4? Plagas. They're a new type of zombie. Every game got a new type of zombie.
I can take it for my
I mean, you can do anything you want with a zombie. It's a fictitious creation. They don't exist in real life. Only thing a zombie means is that it died and came back. So as long as it looks half dead with its flesh hanging off and is still walking around, that's a zombie. Tyrant could be considered a zombie. Anything fucking that's dead but still walking around is a zombie.
I shall put you to rest.
Whatever you want to call it, it's a zombie. Yeah, shit zombified them. Had them become tentacle monsters. How do zombies yell brains and run at you? Most zombies in the movies yell brains and run at you.
Yeah, zombies would be like, It's not talking, you know. There could be a zombie in that.
There's all kinds of different zombies. Probably a talking zombie now. I mean, I've seen a movie where somebody had a kid with a zombie. Now the zombies are getting pregnant and having babies. Yeah, I finally killed the stupid Blair Witch. Finally killed the fucking Blair Witch. Or the last boss on the Resident Evil 3 remake was way better. Yeah, I know. A bioweapon would have actually been better than fighting a fucking demon angel lady holding a kid. Kid fell right out of her gut after I killed her.
It's all right. It's all right.
So you played through the most popular zombie franchise, all 8 of the games. And after you beat all 8 of the games, you looked at yourself in the mirror and told yourself you never fought a zombie? How do you fucking beat 8 of the most popular zombie games in the world, and then look at yourself in the mirror, giggle and laugh and say, huh, I never fought a zombie? I hate a person like that.
Chris, Ethan. He did it. It's finished.
I think we've finished.
What a fucking idiot.
Ethan.
I know, I probably am. I probably am. I'm the guy that just finished the 8th zombie game, and 7 and 8 had no zombies. I'm not going to interrupt the live stream, the final cutscene, to look at an image that don't make no sense. You want me to put my live stream on pause? The one where you swore up and down Resident Evil had no zombies and I caught it on film.
Sky high.
I'm not going to put it on
When I
pause.
hit this trigger, we can't be anywhere.
Chris is back, the only good character of the game.
Damn it. Mia's waiting for you. She's alive, you hear me? Alive.
Mia, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you fight tentacle zombies. Their heads pop off.
Hey.
You fight head popping tentacle zombies. Yeah, most people don't even know how to pronounce that. They just think Resident Evil 4 got the tentacle zombies. Yeah, go to a fucking place where there's like 50 people standing around and like politely walk up to each one of them and say, hi, can I just ask you a question? Have you ever heard of a game? Like at least 20 of the people are going to hear the game. Everybody thinks they're tentacle zombies. Nobody knows what Lost Plagueis is. Of course I know. Of course you know. We're all fans. We're all fans. We know. But a normal person just calls them tentacle zombies. Like like they just say Resident Evil 4 was the weird one with those tentacle zombies. That's what they think. That's what they think. Word on the street, like word on the street in one of the busiest cities on the planet, Resident Evil 4 got the tentacle zombies.
Oh man.
Word on the street is Part 4 got the tentacle zombies. Ask about it. Zombies been talking in the movies since 1984. They run at you, dive on you, and scream brains. Brains, brains.
Rose?
Go, take us up now.
Of course they can. Go to 2B TV. Think there's a movie called Zombie Talk. Think there's a TV show called iZombie about a talking zombie.
We can't go, not without my husband.
Sit down and strap in.
Not before you tell me where Ethan is.
Yeah, they also can't have tentacles for heads. But yet they do anyway.
What's going on?
I know that's probably the non-talking kind. Remember, there's 100 different kinds of zombies. There's 100 different kinds of those things. You must be looking at the non. Some can speak, some can't speak. Some are called Jivos. Some are called Lost Plagos. Some got fucking tentacles for heads. Some could fly. Some look like a fucking Blair Witch, I guess. They're all zombies.
That's right.
Well, try asking it this. Why is Resident Evil a zombie game?
I'm sorry.
Because of the zombies?
Captain, you need to see this. BSA
You asked it the wrong question.
This is a bioweapon.
How come Resident Evil is a zombie game? That must be the most retardedest question. Because the game and plot revolves around zombies. I can't believe you. I said, why are the Resident... And then it's like they got people making fun of the question. It says, why are Resident Evil games considered zombie games? And it's got like little smiley faces and like people laughing about it because somebody asked that question. Because the game revolves around zombies. The Resident Evil series is about a criminal corporation that created bioweapons that just happen to be zombies. Yes, and just like I said, guess what the bioweapons are? Zombies. The bioweapons are zombies. It says mind-controlling parasites. The mind-controlling parasites turn the people into the zombies that you fight in the game. Yeah, zombies have been speaking American for years. They say brains over and over again, and then they run at you.
Do you think the little boy will be able to touch the moon? I think he can touch the moons too. Wait, what if he has a rocket?
Yelling a word in Spanish is the same thing as yelling a word in America. In America, we say brains to zombies.
You were being silly.
Yeah, it's people that are possessed by some kind of fucking parasite. They're basically zombies. You can call them whatever you want. They're basically zombies. At the end of the day, every game has a different... Every game got a different type of zombie you fight. That's the zombie from part 5 or whatever, part 4. Whatever their mind-controlling parasites were, that's how the people became zombies in that game. In part 1, they became a zombie from a virus. In part 7, they became a zombie from a mold. And fucking whatever the one you're talking about, you're saying it was a parasite that made him a zombie. They're all fucking zombies, man.
Yeah, it's like a little monster, a little insect inside that turns.
Resident Evil is the zombie game.
No, that's
That's why it's the zombie game.
Different.
Goddamn devils. Duty calls.
Yeah, I looked at the proof and I believe the proof. I know they're not zombies. Are you satisfied? They are not zombies. They're mind-controlled parasites that make people act identical to zombies. And if you ask anybody on the street, I dare you to walk outside right now. We'll do it together. I'll walk to the bus stop down the road. You walk to the bus stop down the road. We both pull our cameras out on our phones. Guess what people think Resident Evil 4? It's not true. It is not true. Here's what everybody thinks, and you can walk outside to prove this. Resident Evil 4 got the tentacle zombies. That's what everybody thinks. That's what everybody thinks. We know they're Lost Plagueis, mind-controlling parasites, yes. Nobody is arguing that they're not. But when you ask a random person outside at the supermarket or at the grocery store or walking down the road, Resident Evil 4 is best known for its tentacle-headed zombies. That's why he's your friend and he got a PS4 and lives in another country. You know what I mean? That's why he's your friend, lives in another country and got a PS4, because of his belief system. His fucking whole belief system is fucked up. Reminds me of one of them jihadists. Yeah, I accepted it. They're mind-controlling parasites. They're not zombies. I already knew that. Yes, I did. I played the game when it came out. When the game first came out. I've been playing video games since Atari. I'm going to always call them zombies. That's my name for them. I call them whatever I want to call them. That's my name for them.
Almost, man. 30 minutes.
I call them whatever I want. That's my name for them. They look like zombies to me.
No, definitely.
Resident Evil is the zombie game. I'll call them whatever the fuck I want, especially if they look like zombies.